Namaskar. Today, I stand before you with a heart full of grief. The tragic loss of Mukesh Chandrakar, a brave journalist from Chhattisgarh who was found murdered in a septic tank, is a stark reminder of the growing dangers faced by journalists in our country. His story is not isolated. It highlights a much larger, a much alarming problem. Mukesh, who was a fearless journalist known for exposing corruption, went missing on New Year's Day. His family filed a missing report, and just within a few days later, his body was discovered hidden away in a septic tank. He was simply doing his job, shedding light on the truth, and yet he was brutally silenced. How many more lives will we lose before we, as a nation, acknowledge that this is not just a personal tragedy, but a deep rooted issue? Mukesh's murder is a part of the disturbing pattern. Since 2014, at least 40 journalists in India have been murdered, many of them for exposing corruption, mafia activities, or powerful people's wrongdoings. These killings have been met with silence, and sadly, many remain unsolved. Names like Gauri Lankesh, Jyotir Moide, Sandeep Kothari, and Ravindra Kere come to my mind. These journalists were killed simply for doing their jobs, for questioning authority, for telling the truth. Take the case of Gauri Lankesh, who was shot dead in 2017 for standing against corruption and religious extremism. For Jyotirmoy De, an investigative journalist gunned down in 2011 for his reporting on the underworld. Sandeep Kothari, a reporter who was an expert in exposing illegal mining, was brutally murdered in 2015. The list is very long and it keeps growing. The cold, hard truth is that these murders aren't rare. Too many cases have reminded us and have remained very unsolved, leaving families without justice and the truth buried forever. What does this say about the state of press freedom in India? What message are we sending to the journalists, to those who work tirelessly to uncover the truth, to uncover so many types of news? This is no longer just an isolated issue. It is a growing epidemic that undermines the very foundation of our democracy. India is ranked 142 in the Press Freedom Index according to Reporters Without Borders. This clearly reflects the increasing threats faced by journalists in our country. We must ask ourselves, why are journalists being murdered just before doing their job? Why are they being forced to live in constant fear for their lives? Let me be clear. The murder of Mukesh Chandrakar is not just his loss. It is not just the loss of his family. It is our loss as a society. It is a loss of truth, the loss of a free press, and the loss of fundamental right to know. We cannot let his death be forgotten. This must demand justice, not just for Mukesh, but for every journalist who has been silenced, for the life lost in the fight for truth. This is the time to act. We must act now. We must ensure that the government provides better security for journalists. We must hold those responsible for these murders accountable and put an end to the growing culture of impunity. Mukesh Chandrakar's murder cannot be brushed aside as just another statistic. It cannot be another name on the growing list of journalists who are being killed. And we cannot and we must not forget them. And we will not stop fighting for justice, for the protection of every journalist, and for the future of free press. This Let this be the turning point. Let this be the moment when we say enough is enough. No more silence, no more murderers of journalists, and no more murders of those people who are trying to cover the truth. Truth cannot be killed. Namaskar.